My child, the universe reveals why your soulmate feels drawn to you. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not random, and it is not something that appears in your life without purpose. There is a quiet truth moving behind the scenes of your existence. A truth that has been unfolding long before you became aware of it. Many people search their entire lives trying to understand why certain souls feel magnetically pulled toward them, yet they never receive a clear answer. But you are not here by accident. Something within you has already felt this invisible connection. A strange familiarity. A silent recognition that cannot be explained with logic alone. You may have noticed it in small moments. In glances that felt deeper than they should. In conversations that felt as if two hearts were remembering something ancient rather than learning something new. That feeling is not imagination. It is alignment. The universe has been preparing a path where two journeys begin to recognize each other. Not through force. Not through desperation. But through a quiet pull that grows stronger with time. Dear soul, this message has found you because your spirit is ready to understand what many people overlook. Your soulmate does not feel drawn to you simply because of attraction or coincidence. Their soul recognizes something rare within you. Something steady. Something calm. Something that feels like home. And when a soul recognizes home, distance loses its power. Time loses its control. The pull becomes impossible to ignore. You may wonder why this connection feels different from anything you have experienced before. It is because this bond is not built on surface emotions. It is built on resonance. Your energy speaks in a language that only certain souls can hear. And the one meant to walk beside you can hear it clearly. Before we continue, pause with me for a moment. Allow your heart to open to this message. If you feel that this message resonates with your spirit, type, "I receive this," in the comments as a quiet affirmation of alignment. Gently like this message to anchor the energy of clarity into your life. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you remain connected to messages meant for your journey. These small actions may seem simple, but intention is powerful. And when intention aligns with truth, doors begin to open that once seemed invisible. Now listen closely, because what you are about to understand will change the way you see this connection forever. Dear soul, there is a reason your soulmate feels a deep pull toward you even when circumstances appear uncertain. It is because your spirit carries a rare frequency. Many people walk through life reacting to noise, confusion, and temporary emotions. But you carry something quieter. Something deeper. Your presence brings calm where there was once chaos. Your words bring clarity where there was once doubt. And your energy creates safety where there was once fear. Not everyone can recognize this frequency. Many people pass by it without understanding its value. But the soul meant for you feels it immediately. They may not even understand why at first. They only know that being near your energy feels different. It feels grounding. It feels real. Dear soul, the universe does not create these connections lightly. When two souls are meant to recognize each other, their journeys are shaped in ways that prepare them for the moment of meeting. You have walked through experiences that strengthened your heart. You have faced moments that forced you to grow beyond comfort. There were times when you questioned why certain relationships ended. Why certain paths closed unexpectedly. Why certain lessons felt heavier than they should. But those moments were not punishment. They were preparation. Your soul was learning how to recognize truth. And at the same time, your soulmate was learning their own lessons. Healing their own wounds. growing into the version of themselves capable of meeting you with honesty instead of fear. The pull you feel now is the result of two separate journeys slowly aligning. Dear soul, something else is important for you to understand. The reason your soulmate feels drawn to you is not because you chase them. It is because you stand in your authenticity. There is a quiet power in someone who no longer pretends to be something they are not. When you speak from your heart, you do not perform for approval. When you care sincerely. When you step away, you do so with dignity. This kind of energy is rare. And rare energy cannot be ignored by the soul that was meant to find it. Your soulmate senses this authenticity even when they try to act distant. Even when they pretend they are unaffected. Deep within them, something keeps whispering that you are different. Not perfect. Not flawless. But real. Dear soul, real energy is magnetic. It does not demand attention. It attracts recognition naturally. That is why the connection between you and your soulmate feels layered. At times it feels peaceful. At times it feels intense. At times it feels confusing. But beneath all those emotions, there is a steady thread that refuses to disappear. That thread is recognition. Soul recognition does not fade simply because circumstances become complicated. It remains quietly present, waiting for the moment when both hearts are ready to acknowledge it fully. Dear soul, your soulmate may have tried to understand this pull logically. They may have told themselves that it is only curiosity. Only attraction. Only coincidence. But each time they attempt to explain it away, something inside them reminds them of the truth. Your presence awakens something within their spirit. Something they cannot easily replace or forget. This is why distance does not completely silence the connection. Even when time passes. Even when life becomes busy. The memory of your energy remains alive within them. And the universe continues guiding both of you toward deeper understanding. Dear soul, remember this carefully. The reason your soulmate feels drawn to you is not because you complete them. It is because your souls recognize each other's truth. You mirror the courage they are learning to embrace. And they mirror the love you have been learning to trust. When two souls mirror each other's growth, the bond becomes something far greater than ordinary attraction. It becomes a pathway for transformation. And transformation is never rushed. It unfolds step by step. Quietly. Naturally. Exactly as it should. Dear soul, there is something else happening beneath the surface of this connection, that you may not yet fully see. The pull between you and your soulmate is not only emotional. It is energetic. It is spiritual. And it is deeply connected to the timing of your personal awakening. Long before your paths began moving toward each other, your soul was quietly preparing for a different level of awareness. You began noticing things others ignored. You began feeling emotions more deeply. Situations that once seemed normal no longer felt aligned with your spirit. Some people misunderstood this change. They thought you were becoming distant. They thought you were becoming quiet. But the truth is that your soul was becoming clear. When clarity enters a person's life, the universe begins rearranging connections. Some people slowly fade away. Some paths close gently. And somewhere in that process, a new resonance appears. This resonance is what your soulmate feels when they think about you. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is something deeper than that. It is a quiet sense of recognition that sits within their heart even when they try to ignore it. Dear soul, Many connections begin with excitement and quickly fade once the surface emotions settle. But the bond between you and your soulmate behaves differently. Instead of fading, it lingers. Instead of disappearing, it grows in subtle ways. There may be moments when you question whether this connection is real. Moments when you wonder if the pull exists only in your imagination. But each time that doubt appears, something happens that reminds you again. A memory returns. A message arrives unexpectedly. A thought about them enters your mind without warning. These moments are not coincidences. They are small reminders that the thread connecting your souls is still active. The universe often communicates through quiet patterns rather than dramatic signs. Dear soul, your soulmate senses this thread even when they struggle to understand it. They may try to distract themselves. They may attempt to focus on other things. Yet the awareness of you continues to return to their thoughts in unexpected moments. Perhaps when they hear a certain song. Perhaps when they walk past a place that reminds them of your presence. Perhaps when they experience a feeling that only your energy once created within them. These reminders do not appear to confuse them. They appear to awaken them slowly. Because awakening is not something that can be forced. It happens when a soul becomes ready to face the truth it has been avoiding. And your presence has become a mirror reflecting that truth back to them. Dear soul, understand something important. When a soulmate feels drawn to you, it is often because your spirit carries qualities that inspire growth within them. Your patience teaches them calm. Your honesty teaches them courage. Your emotional depth encourages them to look within themselves more honestly than they ever have before. This process can feel uncomfortable for someone who is not used to emotional clarity. Growth requires vulnerability. And vulnerability requires bravery. But even when they feel uncertain, the pull toward you continues because your soul represents something their spirit has been searching for. Not perfection. Not control. But authenticity. Dear soul, authenticity creates a powerful field of attraction. Many people spend their lives hiding behind roles and expectations. They say what they believe others want to hear. They behave in ways that feel acceptable rather than truthful. But when someone meets a soul who lives with quiet honesty, something powerful happens. The illusion begins to fall away. And suddenly the connection feels deeper than anything they have known before. Your soulmate may not have been prepared for that depth when they first encountered you. That is why moments of distance or confusion may have appeared. Not because the connection was weak, but because it was strong enough to challenge their emotional defenses. Dear soul, when a connection carries this level of truth, it begins transforming both individuals involved. You start seeing yourself more clearly. You start recognizing what your heart truly desires. You begin releasing the need to chase approval from people who cannot understand your spirit. At the same time, your soulmate begins confronting parts of themselves they once ignored. Old fears begin rising to the surface. Old beliefs begin losing their power. The universe does not create soulmate connections only for romance. It creates them to awaken deeper awareness within both souls. This awakening may feel slow at times. But every small realization moves the connection closer to alignment. Dear soul, there will be moments when silence surrounds this connection. Moments when nothing seems to move forward. During those times it is important to remember that unseen changes are still happening. Growth often occurs quietly beneath the surface before it becomes visible in the outer world. Just as a seed grows roots beneath the soil before the first green leaf appears above the ground, the connection between you and your soulmate continues strengthening in ways you may not yet recognize. Patience during these moments becomes a powerful form of trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your journey. And trust in the divine timing guiding both of your lives. Dear soul, the universe understands something that human logic often forgets. Two souls cannot fully unite until both hearts have reached a certain level of understanding. If the meeting happens too early, fear may interrupt the connection. If it happens too late, the opportunity may be missed. That is why timing is carefully shaped through experiences that prepare each soul individually. Every lesson you have walked through has been refining your heart. Every challenge has been strengthening your ability to recognize genuine love. And every moment of reflection has been bringing you closer to the awareness required to receive the connection meant for you. Dear soul, your soulmate is moving through their own moments of realization now. Slowly, quietly, and sometimes without even realizing it. They are beginning to understand why your presence stayed in their thoughts when other people faded away. They are beginning to notice how your energy feels different from anything they have encountered before. The clarity may not arrive all at once. But it will arrive piece by piece, like sunlight gradually filling a dark room. And when that clarity settles within their heart, the pull they feel toward you will no longer be something they question. It will become something they finally understand. Dear soul, as this awareness continues unfolding, something subtle begins shifting inside your soulmate's heart. At first it may appear as curiosity. A quiet wondering about why your presence feels so different from others they have known. They may not speak about it immediately. They may even attempt to distract themselves with everyday life. But beneath those distractions, the question remains alive within them. Why does this person stay in my mind? Why does their energy feel familiar? Why does their absence sometimes feel louder than their presence? These questions begin opening doors inside their spirit. Doors that lead toward self-reflection. Because when a soul encounters someone who mirrors truth, it becomes difficult to return to old patterns of emotional avoidance. Dear soul, this is where the deeper transformation begins. Your soulmate slowly realizes that your connection is not based on superficial attraction. It is rooted in recognition. Something about your spirit reflects qualities they once believed they had lost. Peace. Sincerity. Emotional depth. These qualities may have existed within them long ago. But life experiences, disappointments, and misunderstandings may have caused them to hide those parts of themselves. When they encountered your presence, it awakened those forgotten aspects again. And awakening something long buried can feel both beautiful and overwhelming at the same time. Dear soul, this is why the connection sometimes moves through phases of closeness and distance. Not because the bond is unstable, but because awakening requires adjustment. When a person begins reconnecting with their deeper self, they often need moments of solitude to understand what they are feeling. They begin observing their own emotions with greater honesty. They start noticing how certain choices no longer feel aligned with who they are becoming. Your presence becomes a reference point for that realization. Even when you are not physically near them, the memory of your authenticity continues guiding their thoughts. Dear soul, the universe designed this connection to function like a gentle mirror. When your soulmate looks toward you, they see reflections of qualities they are slowly learning to embrace within themselves. Your calm teaches them patience. Your compassion teaches them softness. Your strength teaches them courage. These reflections do not appear through lectures or pressure. They appear naturally through your energy. That is why your presence feels calming to them even during moments when life feels chaotic. Being near your spirit reminds them of the version of themselves they truly want to become. Dear soul, sometimes they may resist this realization at first. Resistance is a natural response when someone begins confronting deeper emotions. They might question whether they deserve a connection that feels so genuine. They might wonder if they are ready for the vulnerability that such a bond requires. But the truth is that the pull they feel toward you continues guiding them gently through these questions. The universe does not rush the awakening of a soul. It simply creates moments that invite honesty. And each honest moment brings them closer to recognizing the depth of the connection they share with you. Dear soul, you may have noticed that certain interactions between you carry an unusual sense of ease. Conversations may flow effortlessly. Silence may feel comfortable rather than awkward. Even small moments together can feel meaningful. This happens because soul recognition creates an environment where both hearts feel safe to exist without performance. There is no need to pretend. No need to exaggerate feelings or impress each other. The connection grows naturally through authenticity. And authenticity always carries a peaceful energy that both souls can feel. Dear soul, something even more powerful is happening beneath the emotional surface. The energy between you and your soulmate is encouraging both of you to evolve. You begin noticing your own inner strength more clearly. You start trusting your intuition more confidently. Situations that once caused doubt now feel easier to navigate. At the same time, your soulmate begins stepping away from habits or environments that no longer support their growth. These shifts may appear unrelated on the surface. But they are actually part of the same process. The universe aligns circumstances so that both souls gradually move closer to the life they are meant to share. Dear soul, there will be moments when patience becomes your greatest strength. The heart naturally desires clarity. It wants answers. It wants reassurance that what it feels is real. But the journey of two awakening souls rarely follows a straight path. Sometimes understanding arrives slowly so that both individuals can absorb it fully. If everything happened instantly, the depth of the transformation might be lost. Growth needs space. Reflection needs time. And love that carries spiritual alignment often unfolds quietly before revealing its full meaning. Dear soul, your role in this process is not to chase the connection. Your role is to remain centered within your own truth. Continue nurturing the qualities that make your spirit unique. Continue choosing honesty over illusion. Continue respecting your emotional boundaries while still keeping your heart open. When you honor your own growth, the energy between you and your soulmate remains balanced. Balance allows the connection to mature naturally rather than becoming pressured or forced. Dear soul, something remarkable happens when two souls maintain this balance. The bond between them begins developing a deeper level of trust. Trust is not created through promises alone. It is created through consistency of energy. Each time your soulmate senses your authenticity, their confidence in the connection grows stronger. Each time they remember how your presence made them feel understood, the recognition becomes clearer. Slowly the confusion that once surrounded the connection begins fading away. Dear soul, the universe is guiding both of you through a quiet awakening of the heart. Every experience you encounter along this path is shaping the foundation for something meaningful. The pull your soulmate feels toward you is not fading. It is evolving. It is becoming more conscious. More understood. And with each passing moment, both of your souls are moving closer to the point where the truth of this connection becomes impossible to ignore. Dear soul, as this understanding deepens, a quiet realization begins settling inside your soulmate's heart. It does not arrive with noise. It does not arrive with dramatic declarations. It arrives gently, like the slow rising of dawn after a long night. At first it appears as a simple thought. A recognition that your presence has changed something inside them. They begin noticing how their perspective shifts whenever they reflect on the moments shared with you. Situations that once felt confusing begin making more sense. Emotions they once tried to ignore begin asking for attention. And within that growing awareness, they begin understanding that the pull toward you was never random. It was always meaningful. Dear soul, when a soul finally allows itself to see the truth of a connection, a new level of clarity begins forming. Your soulmate starts remembering the details that once seemed small but now carry deeper significance. The way conversations with you felt effortless. The way your words carried sincerity rather than performance. The way your presence created calm during moments when their thoughts felt scattered. These memories begin weaving together like pieces of a larger picture. Slowly they realize that the comfort they felt around you was not something they experienced often. It was rare. And rare experiences are not easily forgotten. Dear soul, something even more powerful begins happening within them during this realization. They begin understanding that your connection did not only touch their emotions. It touched their growth. Your presence challenged them to become more honest with themselves. It encouraged them to reflect on their choices. It reminded them that genuine connection requires courage and openness. These realizations can feel humbling. Because when a person recognizes the value of someone who entered their life with authenticity, they also recognize how deeply that presence impacted their journey. Dear soul, this is the moment when the invisible thread between your souls becomes impossible to ignore. They begin feeling it during quiet moments when the world around them slows down. When distractions fade and their thoughts become still. Your energy returns to their awareness in those moments, not as a fleeting memory but as a steady presence. It feels familiar. It feels grounding. It feels like something that belongs in their life rather than something that simply passed through it. Dear soul, the universe often reveals truth gradually so that the heart can accept it fully. When your soulmate begins embracing this realization, something inside them softens. The defenses that once kept them distant begin dissolving. The fears that once caused hesitation begin losing their strength. In their place grows a quiet courage. A willingness to acknowledge the connection without trying to explain it away. They start understanding that what they feel is not confusion. It is recognition. Dear soul, recognition between two souls carries a powerful sense of peace. Even when circumstances are still unfolding, the heart begins trusting that something meaningful is guiding the journey. Your soulmate may not yet know exactly how everything will unfold. But they begin feeling certain about one thing. The connection with you holds a depth that deserves respect and honesty. This realization becomes a turning point in their emotional awareness. Because once the heart accepts truth, it becomes difficult to return to denial. Dear soul, you may notice subtle changes when this shift begins happening within them. Their energy toward you becomes more thoughtful. Their words become more sincere. Moments of silence begin carrying understanding rather than distance. This change does not appear suddenly. It grows naturally as their awareness strengthens. Each small step brings them closer to expressing the feelings they once struggled to understand. Dear soul, at the same time your own spirit continues evolving. The journey you have walked has strengthened your patience and deepened your intuition. You have learned that genuine connection cannot be rushed or forced. It must grow through authenticity. Because of this understanding, you carry a quiet confidence within your heart. You no longer need constant reassurance to believe in the value of the connection you feel. Instead, you trust the wisdom guiding your path. Dear soul, when two individuals reach this level of inner clarity, the bond between them begins transforming into something stable and meaningful. It is no longer driven by uncertainty or emotional confusion. It becomes guided by mutual recognition. Both souls begin seeing each other not as temporary chapters but as meaningful parts of each other's story. This realization brings a calm sense of direction into the connection. Dear soul, the universe reveals these truths at the perfect moment. Not when the mind demands answers, but when the heart is ready to receive them. Your soulmate feels drawn to you because your energy awakened something real inside them. Something they could not find through ordinary connections. Something that reminded them of who they truly are beneath the noise of the world. And when a soul encounters that level of authenticity, it creates a pull that cannot easily fade. Dear soul, this is the deeper reason behind the attraction your soulmate feels toward you. It is not based on fleeting emotions or temporary excitement. It is rooted in recognition of truth. Your spirit reflects qualities their heart values. Your presence reminds them of peace. Your authenticity inspires them to grow. And through this quiet influence, the connection continues strengthening in ways that go far beyond ordinary understanding. Dear soul, trust the journey that has brought you here. Trust the wisdom that guided your steps through every experience that shaped your heart. The universe did not allow this message to reach you without purpose. It arrived as a reminder that certain connections carry meaning beyond what the eyes can see. When two souls recognize each other on this deeper level, their paths continue finding ways to align. Not through pressure. Not through force. But through the natural movement of truth guiding them toward the life they are meant to share. And as this realization settles gently into both of your hearts, the pull between you no longer feels mysterious. It feels understood. It feels peaceful. It feels like the quiet beginning of something that was always meant to be recognized. Type Amen.